Hello, thank you for joining the Digistore NAB Blab. We're starting right on the dot, which is fantastic. So, hope everyone can hear. Hope everyone can hear us. We are only going to do screen share, not video at this stage. But we do have on the right-hand side, we do have your question section. So feel free to pop in questions if you want. As we go through, we will be trying to answer them as best we can, time permitting, obviously. So yes, as I said, thank you very much for joining us. I know your time is very valuable. A lot of giving up most of an afternoon is always a challenge, but obviously there is options for you guys to jump in and out as well. You would have received the agenda as well via email, so just letting you know that feel free to jump in and out as well. So my name is Sean Curran. I'm the National Sales Manager for Digistore. All my details are there, so feel free to contact myself or any of the team here to have about anything that you need, whether it's quotes or questions, technological questions, or some assistance. Oftentimes it is good to touch base with this as well via Facebook and Digistore's Twitter account as well. We do post a lot of material on there, whether it's specials or whether it's interesting articles. So we do like to reach out to our followers there as well. So yes, as I said, questions, feel free to ask questions at any point. We will be doing at the end of each section, whether it's acquisition and ingest, storage and backup, etc., etc. At the end of each section, we will be doing a question section because I understand that people won't be able to wait for 3.5 hours to have their questions answered at the end. Some sessions we've had a look at some sessions that may go longer than others, and that's because we understand that some sections will require more questions than others. So we've tried to sort of balance things. We will be keeping as close to the schedule as possible as well. Also, to let you know that the webinar today is being recorded, and for a couple of reasons. The webinar is designed to be as video on demand as well, so we will be uploading that to our YouTube account afterwards. It does take a little while because, as we all understand, 3.5 hours worth of video content does take a while to upload and also to transcode sometimes. So we will be sending an on-demand link as well, to make sure that you can catch up on any sections that you missed, or forward that to anyone that needs to have it forwarded to them. And of course, definitely refer to the website for the schedule. Okay, so for those of you that haven't dealt with Digistore before, we are a reseller and systems integrator for the post-production VFX film broadcast market. And what does that mean? Essentially, what we pride ourselves on doing is consulting with our customers to look at workflows, hardware requirements, services requirements, or consultation on how best to make your workflow more efficient. We do a number of different vendors, and we actually pride ourselves on doing a number of different vendors because we feel that no single product can do everything that you want. So that's why we look at the fact that we represent the world's leading brands. We've been doing quite a number of these vendors for a very long time. We certainly pick the best of breed products, and the reason we pick best of breed products is we don't like to give people ham-fisted solutions. So the vendors that you see there are really just a cross section. We do a number of other vendors, but the reason that we like to keep quite a portfolio there is to design I guess a bespoke solution for what your requirements are, because every single facility is different. So, on to the show. For those of you that don't know, NAB is a yearly event, and it is quite a large event. This year, we actually sent 6 people to NAB this year. It's quite a long time. Now, the show itself goes from the 5th to the 10th, but being resellers and systems integrators, we always fly in a couple of days early, not just to enjoy the delights of Las Vegas, Vegas, but also to have a look at what the vendors are releasing before the show itself. So I will give you a bit of an overview of the show. It doesn't go for very long, but certainly it's a massive show. So as you can see there, that is actually the South Hall. That is one of 3 halls, so you can see very, very huge. That's actually a two-story hall in Vegas. The signage is quite incredible as well. As you can see up there, AJA in quite a prominent position, as is Livestream. And as always, Blackmagic makes sure it has the front of the South Hall. So their stand is actually quite large internally as well. So just to go through, there was over 94,000 attendees, and we spent a hell of a lot of time running between appointments, and so obviously quite a lot of people in there. The attendance was 98,015 people, and just to put that in perspective, 7,000 people were at SEMPTI last year. So if you remember SEMPTI, that was actually quite a busy place. So try getting 98,000 people through the door. It's quite challenging. So the international attendees, almost 26,000. It's quite an amazing show to go to. If you haven't been, I highly recommend it. It is good fun, and it shows you how big this industry actually is. What's certainly interesting. Whoop. It's just decided to jump off the screen. What's certainly interesting to have a look at is the exhibit space, which is 945,000 square feet. And that equates to about 87,000 square meters. So we spent a lot of time racing around the show floor. Just to give you a bit of an idea, I had my pedometer going, and this is, I guess, representative of the rest of the guys as well. 84,000 steps, almost 85,000 steps. I was setting records on moves, which was fantastic. 4,104 calories burnt, which equated to, for the week, 58.8 kilometers. That's a long time. I had definitely some very, very sore legs. I want to draw your attention, though, to the 4,104 calories. You absolutely need to burn those calories when you start enjoying the breakfast on offer. So certainly the culinary delights of the United States were a scene to behold, and it certainly did get that heart started. So it was an experience for sure. So we had quite a number of people over there, but certainly the guys that are presenting today, there's myself, Sean Curran, Johan Pretorius, who's one of our senior sales guys and account managers, and Matt Wood, who's one of our account managers as well, senior account managers. So the 3 of us spent a lot of time racing between appointments, not only racing between just customer appointments or vendor appointments, but certainly trying to find out what was cool, what was new, what was interesting, but also what the themes of the show are. Oftentimes we don't necessarily have a clear and defining theme as to what happened at NAB, but oftentimes there is one that is quite resounding, I guess is the best way of describing it. So in structuring, that's sort of the start of the introduction and what the overview was for 2014. In terms of putting together the webinar, it is actually quite a challenge. I'm sure many of you have done presentations before. It is actually a challenge as to how to make this relevant to you as a customer or to you as a viewer of what this session is going to be. So we wanted to try and get it as close to, or if not exactly, as to how you guys deal with media on a day-to-day basis. So obviously the themes and trends is one thing, but we wanted to look at it like a workflow. So we'll be looking at the acquisition and ingest, transcode QC, storage, backup and archive, editorial, post and finishing, and broadcast, delivery and streaming. Those sections certainly are blending to a certain extent, and you'll see that theme going through here. And what's causing that blending is the changing needs of what the industry needs right now. So, broadcast, delivery, and streaming is not the end of the chain anymore. It goes then back to transcode, goes to acquisition, editorial, post, and finishing, and how you manage that. How you manage that side of things certainly comes down into the bottom part, as you can see down there: MAM, PAM, and automation. Pardon me. So that's actually quite a prominent part of our presentation today, because that area is certainly changing fast, and the options available to end users is quite a lot, as you'll see. Pardon me. Okay, so we will be stepping through quite a number of areas, but also I'll be starting off with the themes that we identified at the show, some of which you will know, some of which you may not know, some of which you will probably see and go, oh, not that one again, and I'm sure you'll pick up on which one that is. So the main themes that we identified at the show, and obviously a lot of people identified back here, were the 4K and Ultra HD, HEVC or H.265, and VP9. Thunderbolt is always a favourite of the Apple fanboys, of which I am one. Cloud, and you can see my dad joke there, a cumulus topic, and metadata and monetization. Now that's a very, very interesting topic, and I've left that to last because there's obviously going to be quite a number of conversations about it, but it's also an area that people and facilities will be looking at in the future. So it's good to be ahead of the curve, I guess. So kicking off, here comes 4K. That's Ultra HD, right? Is it? Hang on a second. Okay, so 4K is here, Ultra HD is here. What's the difference between the two? I'll show you that in a sec. Certainly, it was the buzz at the show. Everyone was saying 4K is fantastic. We do 4K and we do Ultra HD, and they're the same thing. There was new products, whether it was acquisition in terms of cameras or ingest appliances, whether it was importing that material into the NLE, whether it was encoding or transcoding that material, displays. I mean, absolutely. There's always the moment someone says we've got a 4K screen, everyone else has a 4K screen immediately. Editing in it, managing it, live broadcasting 4K. There was certainly the majority of vendors had 4K on their displays, on their booths, sorry, and definitely a lot more in their presentations as to how they're dealing with 4K and what 4K is going to mean for the vendors as well. So 4K and Ultra HD, it's the same thing, right? Well, no, it's definitely not the same thing. And at its very base level, the reason it's not the same thing, it's the same argument that we had when we had HD versus HDV. The aspect ratio is different and the raster is definitely different. So it is two different things, and it's very much worth noting which one is which. There's not that many people on the consumer side with a 4K panel. There are lots of people with Ultra HD panels. So as I said, everyone is definitely having a crack. Sony, Samsung, all those guys. So the consumer market is absolutely flooded with Ultra HD. The professional market certainly has a number of 4K panels, but they're not necessarily cheap right now. But what's worth knowing that with the products that are there is no defined spec on what UHD encoding is going to be. So no one has defined exactly what the delivery format is and what the delivery specification is. So there's also not many people that are actually delivering 4K or Ultra HD at the moment. So, you know, what's driving this? And the driving force behind 4K and specifically Ultra HD is definitely the panel manufacturers as well. So the delivery of 4K and Ultra HD, obviously the data rate is a hell of a lot higher. Now, broadcasters are, this is my opinion, but certainly based on a hell of a lot of discussions, both at NAB and back home. At this stage, delivering in 4K or Ultra HD in near term is unlikely. There has been some discussions as to what that's going to be. How we're going to get Ultra HD. The feeling is at the moment that that's probably going to be via IPTV or IP delivery, whether that's as a streaming service like your Netflix or Hulu, or whether that's a catch-up TV, being able to watch your television in HD and then download the 4K material. That's not defined, that's not locked away, and I wouldn't bet the house on it, but that's the feeling that we're getting talking to both customers and vendors internationally. So yeah, it's an interesting one, and as you can see there, the graphic really sort of says that you've got a massive amount of data coming down the pipe. Will it come out the other side? Well, I guess that really depends on your NBN or your broadband package, but we won't go into that because that's certainly a different discussion. But what does it mean for a lot of our customers? And for a lot of our customers, and I'm calling you guys content creators or content aggregators, uh, it, what does it mean for you guys? I guess for a lot of people that are delivering to broadcasters and delivering to the web, you really do need to be guided by what your deliverables are. It's all well and good to be able to have all of the 4K tools to be able to deliver this quality of image, but do you actually need to deliver it? You know, I've anecdotally we've always said it's really interesting people that have 5K cameras or 5K red cameras and then only need to deliver to the web. Now it's, you know, on one hand it's like you know, opening a walnut with a sledgehammer, but there are the purists out there that want to retain as much quality as possible. Now that's fine, but I guess you just need to be obviously cognizant of what those deliverables are and whether the tools that you have are going to succeed there. Do you need the 4K tools right now? Well, yes and no. Again, that's going to be driven by what you need to deliver to your output. Um, the Definitely the piece of advice, two pieces of advice I give you. You know, keeping informed is the only way to do it. So coming to Digistore webinars is always fantastic, but also reading up on what the industry papers are talking about. Content technology is absolutely a fantastic place to be able to see how 4K and how technology is going to be influencing the Australian market, certainly, but more broadly through APAC as well. Definitely be 4K ready, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to refit everything. I guess the advice that I would give there is have the conversation with us, and we can tell you either what you need or what's a sensible investment, and what might not be the best the best way to be spending your money. One of the next themes is certainly HEVC, or H265 as people are calling it, versus VP9. Now, this is a really, really interesting area to have a look at, and I encourage people to investigate this and interrogate it a bit more. HEVC is certainly the codec of choice for your for transcoders and people that are doing web-based delivery at the moment, but and that's out of NAB. Interestingly enough, at CES this year, there was a lot of push to VP9. VP9 is definitely driven more out of the browser-based playing. So a lot of people like Google are certainly backing that horse, but a lot of vendors are also backing the H265 as well. You know, someone explained to me it's sort of like HDMI versus DisplayPort. So you know, they both take the signal. Which one do you prefer? And it's really going to come down to who wins in the end, as in which vendors are going to be backing it. Interestingly enough, the VP9 codec has support from Panasonic, you know, Sony, Samsung, Intel, Nvidia, Realtek, Mozilla, Philips, and all those guys. So it's very, very heavily backed, and it certainly is supported in the Chrome browser. Inversely, all of those same companies have also backed H265 as well. So there is no clear defined winner, and there probably won't be a winner for quite an amount of time. So, you know, do you need to worry about format support? In terms of H265 versus VP9, again, I go back to what I said on a previous slide. Be be guided by what the deliverable is. If you're a broadcaster or you're a rich media aggregator, they will be defining what they're going to be outputting. So for the content creator, absolutely, you need to be guided by what that deliverable is. I'll be interested to see a lot of the rich media guys which way they go and what their testing looks like as H265 and VP9. I guess, develop. Certainly Digital Rapids and Telestream and the major encoders at NAB were saying H265, so that's good to know. And I guess the question really is it game on again? Well, yes, but certainly I don't think there's going to be a clear decisive winner at this point in time. Hardware manufacturers are spending a little bit more money to make sure that they support H265. So I think that's interesting, as opposed to just taking more of an open source approach. They are actually spending a bit more money to get H265 on their platforms. So definitely interesting. Okay. Well, my builds don't want to go. Okay, cloud. Everyone's always talking about cloud. Everyone's always asking us about cloud. What does it mean for media and entertainment? Is it something that I need to be doing? What does it do? Can I make it work? Is it the same thing that Adobe does? Yes, no, maybe. It kind of works for you. It really depends on what you want to do. A lot of vendors out there that are doing cloud-based services, which is absolutely fantastic. Is it something that you need to be looking at right now? You could be looking at it right now. I wanted to put the 5 questions, I guess, that we get asked the most of. What does it actually do? The great thing and the curse of cloud is that it allows you to utilize allows you to use, storage and compute that's not necessarily within your environment. That sounds a bit vague, but I'll go into that in a second. But what does it do for you as a facility? Well, again, it really depends on what you want to achieve. Is there a DR facility that you want to be creating? Do you need rendering in the cloud? Do you need to deliver from the cloud? It's really dependent, and it's really a bespoke solution for what you need. So we can definitely assist you with defining whether the cloud is required for you. Do you need it? That's a question that I would absolutely be asking you after we went through it. One of the questions that we do get asked is it the same thing that Adobe does? No. The Creative Cloud for Teams, or the new version of Adobe, it says cloud. Essentially, that's a licensing model, so it's somewhat different to what we're talking about. So it's not really a licensing model. So in saying all of that, you're probably confused, because cloud is certainly one of the most misused terms within the IT-based industry. And the frustrating thing is it just describes everything that's really not in your rack that's working for you. So as you can see, Grandpa Simpson, he doesn't like cloud. But it really does define it. It is a catch, I guess, a catch term for everything that's back-to-base licensing, like the Adobe Cloud or the Autodesk desktop subscription, or whether it's storage in the cloud, whether it's compute in the cloud. Right now, for media and entertainment, my advice, or certainly my advice and my guidance that I would give you is, cloud absolutely represents a fantastic opportunity for you as a consumer and you as a content creator to stream your material, to host your material, to back up and have disaster recovery for your material, to have it as part of your CDN. There is a number of functions that you can do. There is no compositing in the cloud yet that I have seen. So in terms of content creation, it may not be to the level that you want, and the investment may be considerable. It is an evolving and developing part of the media and entertainment industry, and you do need to keep informed about it. Do you need to rush out and buy a cloud? No. You need to have a look at what people are offering as cloud services or storage as a service, and definitely give us a call and we can help guide you through on that. Of course, one of the big things at NAB every year is what's new in Thunderbolt. I'll quickly run through Thunderbolt. Certainly 4K, everyone's talking about 4K as we've covered. The new Mac Pro certainly changes a few things. PCI on the Mac platform, PCI cards are effectively gone. Unless you were lucky enough to get a couple of Mac Pros before they went end of life. But certainly the new form factor of the Mac Pro makes it a lot more interesting. So it is a 4K compliant machine. Everyone keeps telling me, but certainly Thunderbolt 2 shipping with 20 gigabytes of connectivity is fantastic as well. So all your major players are still on board, your Lacies, your Sonnets, and your Promises, and those sorts of people. But it's really encouraging to see that people like Drobo and HP, Gigabyte, and Asus are also putting it on their motherboards as well. So thankfully, it is being adopted a bit more than we thought. We were hoping that it wouldn't just be part of the Apple platform and never go further than that. So I mentioned metadata and monetization. Pardon me. So metadata and monetization. This is again, it's a somewhat cumulous discussion point, but everyone knows that we have metadata. Everyone knows that things are tracked via metadata. Everyone knows that you have headers with metadata. Everyone knows what metadata is and how to put that together, and how rich you can have your metadata within your files, but also within your website. But it's really that's going to define where the dollars are from this point onwards. Now, it was very interesting. I watched a presentation, and I'll show you where to find that presentation in a second. But it was really it was quite enlightening to be able to see that metadata is somewhat of an untapped resource, and it's probably not talked about enough how people could utilize that and actually create either new markets for themselves or new revenue streams for themselves. The bigger players like your Netflix and your Hulus are able to tap into that metadata, whether it's finding what you like in terms of your choices of viewing and suggesting to you other material. So, and that's all driven out of that rich metadata and getting more and more metadata into your assets and making them a more valuable asset for your facility and for your business. So it's very, very interesting, and I would highly recommend you look further into what metadata is going to do, or how you can increase your revenue streams based on how you generate or how you present metadata to people. Someone mentioned to me that metadata is like the oil wells of today. So it's untapped at the moment, and when you find a good way of making it pay off dividends, you may be a very, very rich person. So it's certainly the path to monetization. Now, they've copped a bit of a shellacking over the last couple of years, but the vendor that was absolutely on the front foot in talking about this and the value chain of what that is going to be, with all due respect to them, they were the least likely, but I was very, very happy to see them actually taking the lead on that, and that was Avid. So in having a look at the value chain of Avid, and I won't value chain of new media, metadata, and monetization, is that they were very, very explicit, and certainly watching. It was Luis Hernandez, who's actually the CEO of Avid. He's taken quite an approach, which is very encouraging to what that's actually going to mean to new media and rich media. Now, I won't do his presentation justice, but it's certainly very, very encouraging to see, and it is on the Avid website at the moment, how metadata and how assets are actually flowing these days. It's not it goes in one side, comes out the other, and then we're done and dusted. It is almost like an organic experience where material goes in and out and moves, and the analytics that are around that and the way that you interact with your customers it's definitely changing, and it's changed. I just don't think anyone's necessarily defined it as well as certainly Lewis has, and in a public forum. So highly recommend you go and see Lewis's presentation. That was at the Avid Connect session. And yeah, it was very, very impressive, very, very impressive. So just to wrap up there, the certainly the key trends and impressions: 4K and Ultra HD. Make sure you know the difference. HEVC and VP9. Keep your eyes posted on that. I think it's going to be an interesting battle. Thunderbolt is always good. We love a good Thunderbolt device. Cloud, have the conversation with us. More than happy to see how cloud can assist you and assist your facility, and definitely looking at the how metadata can enrich your media lifecycle as well.